Wow, I hope you will be that enjoyed during the whole session. I mean, you are just so waken up, I'm not. The thing is, we are going to write some secure Drupal code. I hope you are all ready. Let me introduce a little bit myself. I'm Balázs. I rather use Balázs than János, so I have all kinds of names. There are a few things that I do in my work and also in my volunteer time. Basically, I'm just working with Drupal for over 10 years. Currently, I'm CTO of Petend, which is a Hungarian and Belgian company, and doing mainly security-related activities in the community and also at my work. You can see the details, and that's also me. So I'd like to see your hands first if you love DrupalCamp Pannonia. That's pretty much everyone who is not sleeping. That's great. I didn't ask you to put down your hands because I really would like to see those people who are building sites, like site builders. Are you somehow? Yeah, kind of. Okay, there are a lot. Great. And by the way, there's a cat. So we are going to do some demo in the beginning because most of the people think about security as kind of complex, as something which is so unhandleable, is something that most of the people just don't like. And is something that we know XSS is just an easy and stupid example. So the thing is, what we know about cross-site scripting is just that pop-up alert thingy, right? Like, let me show you. Here's a test article. It's a Drupal 7 site. And if I just put here the script, alert, XSS, and I close the script tag, obviously I have to be able to do it in full HTML. That's where the whole vulnerability starts. And I just save it. There will be, boom, the pop-up. So the thing is, if we talk about XSS, most of the people are thinking about this. There is a super nice example and also a quote that says, whatever you all can do by clicking all around the website, I can do it by a script. So if we talk about cross-site scripting, then you can imagine how nasty things I can do. Let me just copy some sort of script stuff to the same field. I guess not even the same, but node 2. I have another node. That's an awesome article. If I just put it there, the code will be shared, so you will have time to investigate. And I just save it. Nothing really happens here. The thing is, there is an admin on this website who just turns on so much seeing there is a new comment, right? Because most of the webmasters who has the ability to do something similar are just so eager to see, wow, there are new comments. And they might even visit that page saying, oh, there is a new comment. What happened? And basically, if I just get here, something nasty happens, like the content changed, right? You saw everything on this screen. By the way, there is a picture, but yeah, it just didn't load. So nothing happened remotely. No one hacked my computer. It's not even connected to internet. Happens everything live. But changing content, you know, is just one thing. But what if the whole entire website basically just gets unavailable, right? Whatever, remember the saying, whatever you can do by clicking on the website, okay, XSS, I can do the same by scripting it. So I'm just gonna execute this. Again, the XSS. Nothing really happens here. So like the user who submitted it obviously still waits to get those payloads executed. And here comes our great webmaster who is again so happy having a new comment, and sees it and just like, oh, okay, he didn't write anything. But the next visitor accessing the website realizes the website went off. So again, XSS is this, not only the alert, right? You might say, because Drupal 7 is so unsecure, by the way, it's not, okay? So it might only happen in Drupal 7. The thing is, because we not only talk about XSS, but talk about security misconfiguration, so the website is not configured properly in a secure fashion, like allowing full HTML to be inserted by, oh, that's great, by unauthorized users, and I just can't type correctly, script, okay. Then even in Drupal 8, it can happen. So the same issue, you see, the pop-up happens. So a similar payload can be executed on the Drupal 8 site, can make the site unavailable, can the content be changed, things like that. Let's get back to the slides. All right. So, yeah, that was the demo. There is a gist. All the code that I just inserted are there. Feel free to use. Please not on public websites. Do not try to exploit public websites, only on your local, as I did before. But I'm also interested about you. Are there devs or even maintainers of Drupal contribs, themes, modules, libraries even? Some hands? Okay, Gabor, okay, great, great, great. I see some hands, that's great. So we are going to talk about you, what you could do. But before that, because I'm in that great honor to give this session so many times, mainly in Europe, I'd like to ask who has attended before on any of my sessions called Let's Write Secure Drupal Code. Oh, okay. I hope you will still enjoy it, because most of the examples are quite similar. So there is the list of all the sessions that I gave. But there is one particular last year in Darmstadt at Drupal Europe where I got a tweet about a slide, which I don't use nowadays, but it was particularly funny for me because it was like about all the years since 2012 or even before, showing Drupal contrib security advisories and how many of them related to different Drupal core versions. And XYZ doesn't matter, tweeted, according to that slide, Drupal 5 is the most secure. Nope. So do not get me wrong, if there is a core version that is especially not maintained anymore and we don't get new advisories, it doesn't mean it is secure, right? Let's talk about some trends, but globally. There is OWASP, which is Open Web Application Security Project, which from time to time releases a list of all mainly top 10 most secure, most advanced and most used issue types, like vulnerability types. And you can see in 2013, I guess this one, no, the red one. Oh, yeah, great. So this one, 2013, we got the injection, we got broken authentication all the way down until unvalidated redirects and forwards. 2 years ago, though, we got an update on this. And as you see, there are some merged ones, there are even new issues such as external entities injection. So what we can learn out of this slide is basically we just cannot sleep. There will be newer and newer vulnerabilities, there will be newer and newer exploits, and we just have to keep awakened and fight against bad code. That's what we are going to do. And by the way, do you remember the security misconfiguration that we were talking about? XSS, like cross-site scripting, is very important, is very mature. But still, security misconfiguration is a real thing. There are people having ability or permissions in Drupal world to do things on the website, and we devs have to validate it. Is it done in a secure fashion or not? Let's go a little bit further. In Drupal, though, we saw injections such as remote code injection is a big thing. So like that's the most unsecure thing. That's the most occurred vulnerability. In Drupal, we have a great core. Thanks Gabor, thanks the others, thanks PP also for the pointer. And in Drupal, basically half of the issues are about XSS. We saw what can happen by an XSS, didn't we? Do not underestimate. But the others, such as SQL injection or access bypass that we are going to talk about today, are also a big chunk of vulnerabilities nowadays in Drupal. Even though the slide was made somewhere in 2015 or 16, but still more or less the ratio is similar nowadays. So XSS is a very big thing. So let's start with that. What is XSS? So XSS is basically a client-side vulnerability. Something happens on the client side, okay, in the browser. The scope is the browser. What else we do is usually, what else we know is usually having unfiltered output. In Drupal, even though we have to focus on what we allow to reach our database or backend or whatever, but still, when we allow things to go to the output, such as HTML, such as RSS, or whatever, especially in decoupled Word, we always have to make those output filtered. And usually, the XSS comes by unfiltered output. A generic suggestion here is to never trust any user input. So whatever you get by any users, just clearly do not trust. The user is like, we just don't like them. Why we even need them? Anyway, so we saw the demo. It was also a security misconfiguration, but still came by XSS. In Drupal 7, though, there are the major protections and the filters against different types of text, such as a plain text. If you get that from any kind of user input, always use check plain, for instance. But if there is just a simple HTML that you just don't know anything about, right, then before it reaches output, especially HTML output in Drupal 7, use filter XSS. Filter XSS is basically the end of all the chains. Filter XSS, if you call the others, will be always called somewhere around the execution. And basically, if it's if the text is just trusted, so you know where it comes from, for instance, from an external party that always does the filters because you control it, for instance, then you just can be fine and just let it go to the output. That's Drupal 7. Drupal 8, we got Twig, which basically does most of the things. Still, you can use raw data. If you use raw data, please do not forget to filter it. We have the HTML and the XSS classes, and with some methods, as in the picture written, and basically those are the things that you have to be aware of to be used to filter things. So, who likes to play? Anyone? Oh, Pepe loves to even win, right? Because there is a bingo. Everyone knows how the bingo works. So there is a card, the smallest ones, having numbers, okay? In the middle, there is the logo of this great camp. And we are gonna test you. We are not going to write code, sorry folks, but we are gonna see code and we will vote. That's why you got the green and the red cards. I'm going to show you some code or just an example or just a sentence. And if you agree with it, or if you feel it's just safe enough, safe, not just enough, but safe, show me the green one. Every other cases, if you don't agree with the sentence that is written there, or you discover a vulnerability, please, if you discover a syntax error, do not show me the red, ignore it. There might be. I hope I removed all of them, but I'm just a human after all. So then show me the red. Ready? Here we go. First example. It's Drupal 7, we still remember, right? What it does, it's basically there is a formatter, field formatter view where we get an element which will be a markup, and we, don't ask me why, but the markup, the hash markup, will have a T function that has an IMG tag somehow formatted, okay? Is there any issue with it? I see some red cards. I see the others are sleeping. It's so hot inside, I'm telling you. Okay, you are not really agreeing. There is a green one, very good. There is even more green ones. Others? Okay, only the people who vote can get the number if you vote well. Okay, everyone woke up and like, it's red. Great, it's red. Because, oh, that's gonna be not so visible. Anyway, so there is an X, and there is this character and that character highlighted, which says there might be some issues. Anyone wants to step up and say what could go wrong with those? Go ahead. That might also happen, I would say, but it's a little bit easier. Try to focus on XSS. If the SRC variable, just go ahead. We are interactive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it might even open a script tag, right? So it's a clear XSS, because in this case, the exclamation mark doesn't filter anything, but, where is it? The @ does the filtering, okay? So fixing it, just use @ as a placeholder. Okay. I'm very sorry for the ones who show me a green card. Sorry, folks, but you shouldn't, please do not mark number 12 on your bingo. All right, let's go further. Here's a Drupal 8 example, okay? Something similar, right? So we get some content. Let's imagine the body field is something, you know, a rich text, having some possibilities to change the filter format, okay? So it can be a full HTML or a restricted or a plain text or whatever. And basically then when we get all the content, we go and somehow else we'll put it to output. As a hint, the issue will not come from, if there is an issue, from this line. So the something custom filters everything, trust that. Anything else could go wrong here. Let me see some cards. There is one super high red. There is another red. There are even more reds. You just trust the red ones. Maybe it's just fine. Anyone else? Oh, by the way, I didn't show you what is the price. So you can get this Belgian chocolate, okay? Let me turn you on. I mean, it's important to wake up and you can get this, right? It's great. Thanks to Reka who bought it, by the way. Otherwise, no one will get it. I mean, seriously, guys. Okay, I saw some red ones. Yes, it's not good. But what is the issue with it? Kevin? I also prefer the red. Mm-hmm. Forget that. Trust that the custom theme one. That one is okay. Then everything is okay. What about you? So you mean here there are some things? It's that complex? Okay, yes, that part is not so okay. Because in Drupal 8, we got something else, which is called processed text. So if you want to use, and that's the secure fashion, if you want to use the format that is set on the UI, go to the format processed text when you are outputting. So that's the way how it should go. Go ahead. I know, that's right. That's why here, mhm, yeah, that's why I was talking about the body field that can have a filter. That's to hint you. Okay, anyway, there were some red at least, so please mark 23. Next, in Drupal 7, check URL calls check plain to sanitize bad protocols properly. Is it true or not? If it's true, because of check URL calls check plain to sanitize bad protocols, then show me a green. If it's not correct, then show me a red. Okay. So you believe more it's red, yes. Because bad protocols are sanitized by what function if someone is so descripted? Look at that. Drupal strip dangerous protocols, right? So check URL, even though calls check plain, because it does, but not for this. Sorry. The number is 25. Next, let's speed up a little bit. Drupal 8 allows full HTML to be used by authenticated and administrator users. Is it true or not? So like the standard Drupal 8 allows full HTML to be used by those roles. No? Sorry, it is allowed to logged in users. So authenticated can use by default, it's shipped like this. Not the most secure though, but yeah, why? I know. Because we consider authenticated users as trusted users because they pass one security measure. It seems I will keep the number 17. It's awkward, but yay, good job. So what we can do to protect our applications against cross-site scripting is basically writing some behat or other automated tests. I believe PP is just a big fan of it, but also like very simple tests can be executed and can be implemented there. So if you just put those two to most of the fields that can be filled by users, like the script and the IMG tags, then basically you cover about 98% of XSS issues. There are some nasty ones, very rarely can be used even, but those cover most of the cases. Also, please always check the filters and the assigned user roles, and always, I mean, never give more permissions to untrusted users. It's basically your responsibility somehow, and an architect should decide what it means a trusted user. There might be a trusted user just by using multi-factor authentication, right? But there can be cases when even an anonymous is considered trusted user, such as having different security measures because of decoupled application. So there are many different cases that we have to think about when we talk about security. Let's go further. Access bypass. That's another very big area of vulnerabilities in Drupal, and we should be definitely aware of. How does it go? So basically, if there is a user that is not allowed to do something, but still having access to that resource, then we talk about access bypass, because there is an access measure, there is a security measure that he can bypass and access those resources or do something similar. In Drupal, most of the menu items, regardless of the core version, can be defined as accessible or not by different cases, such as defining custom implementation or using roles or just basically using user access in Drupal 7. There are many access systems, though, in Drupal core, which we can rely on, such as node, entity, field, views, etc., etc. We are going to do another round. So here is a code, Drupal 7, let's say. Yeah, Drupal 7, because we got the node table over there. Let's talk about having a DB select that asks the node table to get the title and the node ID of all the articles, and imagine the result just directly go to the output that is visible for unauthenticated users. Are we fine with this, or there are some issues? There might be. Red ones? I see some red. Okay, I see more red. Anyone think, oh yay, anyone believes it's just fine like this? Can it happen in any cases this is fine? I'm giving you a hint. By the way, it is red because of something is missing over there. It can be, though, fine if it's an admin interface, for instance. But definitely it is not a good, not a best practice. What is missing over there after the condition line? What would you say? Go ahead. Say it again. Say it again. Oh, like a condition. Yeah, another condition can be, for instance, for the status. Is it enough to use like status published or node published, I guess? It's not enough. I would say always use the tag which is called node access, because that's the one that will invoke everything else. For instance, using organic groups, there are a huge, net that basically always happens around accessing a node. And in this case, if you use node access, it will trigger organic groups and will only show the content that are available for that given user. So great red ones. You got the 29. Tell me. Yeah, go ahead. That is precisely a good example. I would say there are still cases when it's needed, maybe for some custom caching solutions, when they can't just rely on Entity API, because Entity API is even altered, so not the classic. The shipped one is there. These are just examples that we should not do. But definitely, I would also go for entity metadata wrapper and all these kind of more modern solutions. So thanks for the remark. The next one, it's in a YAML file where we define the paths, and basically we just say about a not found path is just accessible by everyone, so access true, and the title is page not found, and the controller is a build 404 method. Anything can go wrong if we show a 404-ish page to everyone. Is there any issues that you might imagine that can go wrong with here? If you think too much, most probably it's just fine, just telling. Don't overthink. It's not like that time. Anyone showing me a green or a red one? I see Kevin really wants to get the chocolate. Gabor as well. Pepe is like, who knows? There is Peter who doesn't really want to get the chocolate because he shows the red one. Eventually, it's just okay. Sorry. And all the red ones got the 16. Okay, let's go further. No one is bingoing right now, right? Okay, cool. Restricted permissions make Drupal sites 7 and 8 more secure by calling a restrict permission method or function, let's say. Is it okay, or it's just BS? Okay, so those folks say red. Anyone else? Okay, so have you ever heard about the restrict permission method? Show me a red one. If you want to get the chocolate, red. There you go. Yeah, restrict permissions just doesn't exist. So the thing is, it's raising attention on the permission page, if you remember, there is that extremely long, especially if you use lots of contrips, that can be really long with multiple roles, so it can just crash your website. Saw it before. And on those pages, there is sometimes on permissions saying, give it only to trusted users, like in an italic font. And those are the measures, so raising attention. Number 6. The next one. A standard Drupal 8 application allows users to mistype their password exactly 10 times. Wow, folks at the back are like red, okay? But immediately. There is a green, okay. There are even more greens. If it's green, why is it green? Because it's just, okay, Drupal 8 standard 10 times. No, it's red. What's the problem with it? Because I saw you folks are like, wow, it's red, red, red. Let's hear the people behind you now. What is the problem with this? It's red, by the way. Just I don't want to hint what is wrong. Oh, that's too much. Yeah, I wouldn't do that 10 times. And by the way, that's the issue. So it's 5 times. But can be changed, though. Not on the interface, but there is a variable. Number 9. Anyone bingo? Okay. Still, great job. So the thing that we should learn out of this, how we can protect our applications against access bypass, is basically even manually or automated way visiting node or patterned paths, such as having some variables in the path, and also visiting like basically everything that has some parameters. Usage of Behat or other automated tests are just great here as well. Node access and entity access, though, makes the work happen. And for all permissions, I would just say use a simple user access. Or even if you are on the menu routing, then you just end up saying it just works if you just use the permissions there. And also do not forget the node access. Last vulnerability type. We all know what is SQL injection, right? Even cats know it. So it's basically an unauthorized access for database resources. Okay. I hope we all remember back in 2014, roughly 5 years ago, when we got the 2014 006, 005, sorry. That was a highly critical SQL injection in Drupal 7 and before core that got exploited, if I'm not mistaken, about 5 hours after releasing and making major issues. Some of you might remember DrupalGeddon, it was called. Please do not refer for it because it has a beautiful and so easy to memorize SA Core 2014-005 name. There you go. Okay, let's see some examples. I'm so eager to show you. There you go. The first. So it's Drupal 8. It's already red. Everything is red. It's like, let's go, communism. Okay, so here we get a condition that says on the people table, we want to use a get param named parameter in a like condition. Whoa. No one is green, right? Great. Obviously, the parameter is wrong there. What's the issue here? Okay, SQL injection, we know. But how it can be fixed? What should be used? Gavin, still? You just put down your hand. Yeah, but how? It is bad. But it's eventually not bad because of having the parameter from the URL. Because we are just going to use the same with escape-like. So like if you have the database as a resource, then just use the escape-like method of it. But thanks for the so many great cards, you get that number 31. I'm going further. A highly critical Drupal 7 core update remediated a remote code execution vulnerability back in 2014. Correct? Again, highly critical Drupal 7 core update remediated a remote code execution vulnerability back in 2014. Oh, guys. What is the topic here? We talk about SQL injection. Is it a remote code execution? Nope. It's not a remote code execution. It was an SQL injection vulnerability. Yeah, it's a different type, sorry. Basically, no one can mark number 15. Yeah, sorry. So, what we can do basically is to use always and always in every single cases Drupal database API. DB query, and also we heard by Christoph, DB select should not be used because there are way more modern or just way better solutions. Still, please do not use DB query, especially in Drupal 8, where it's already deprecated. We got the session, we got all the knowledge by Gabor in the morning saying the deprecated things will be removed in Drupal 9. That dude, that one, will no longer exist and will just crash your website if you go to Drupal 9. And you will just, man, why? So do not. Filter all the parameters, check the queries in code. That's the easiest way. Quite difficult to exploit though, because we have, as you know, the database API, but we can automatize a little bit some patterns, such as using curl with post requests. Okay. Because there is still no one who won the chocolate, let me show you some more code. And I don't give you the type of vulnerability, so we are going to exploit it if it's exploitable together. So that's a generate password, some sort of function that iterates at least 8 times and says the allowable characters, imagine it's there, so that's why I told you like syntax errors are just out of the context, and usage of empty rand between 0 and the length. Yeah, there is another issue. Anyway, imagine the length and the len is the same, and yeah, just generates that password, and later on will do nothing because there is no return. Anyway, so there are lots of issues with this code, I know, but is it enough safe if we use, for instance, the empty rand or not? There is one red, I see. There is another red. The rest are still debugging this code. It's so bad. Sorry, guys. Okay, I mainly see red ones. That's great. Yes, empty rand is not good. It's not enough randomized. Used here, though. Yeah. Yeah. Random bytes, almost. Drupal random bytes, because we are in, you know, Drupal, whatever. Great, number 8. I'm gonna bring back the chocolate to Belgium, dude. Okay, here is another one. So we got a permissions YAML and a routing YAML. The permissions define a new administer custom module permission with the given title and description, and the routing one uses it on a sort of admin path. Is it okay like this, or you would do something differently? There is one red. Let's give some more time to the others to, you know, digest this code. It's quite long. All right. Pepe, what's the reason? I know you are falling in love with the red, because like, oh wait, red. But what is not good here? You just don't like it. Okay, great. That's fair enough. Most of the codes are red, so you are doing so good job, yeah. Gabor? Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so there is a greenish arrow and says the restrict access should be used here because it's an administer one. Even if it's in a custom code, please, as a best practice, use restrict access with true which is by default false when you define administer like or alike permissions. Number 20. Okay. Here is a very similar one. I only show the routing YAML because the administer site configuration permission comes by Drupal 8 core. The question is here, are we good like this, or we should change something or define like admin route or whatever? So the question is basically about the administer site configuration. Is it by default restricted or not? If there is a vulnerability that you want to report to the Drupal security team, and that depends on the administer site configuration permission, will it be accepted as a vulnerability and following the whole disclosure policy will be released or not? I see both of them like a bird. That's great. That's a green. Ooh, you got confused. I love it. I love making people confused. Okay. Yeah, I think it's the previous one was more like, meh, bingo. It's just fine because the administer site configuration is already restricted in Drupal 8 core. So like, yeah, it's basically just not a vulnerability any type. Anytime, sorry. Number 26, for the ones who answered well, I still keep the chocolate. There is something? Shout bingo. No. Almost. CSRF, do we know that vulnerable? Oh, okay. Can I just read it? Sounds funny. Stands for cross-site remote fallout vulnerability. Nope. Yes, because it stands for, let's say it together, cross-site request forgery. There you go. Okay, number 30. You know how it's called, PP? Almost. Next, SQL injection is a server-side vulnerability. True or not? True, 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 everyone true. Great. Okay, 13. Okay, cross-site scripting vulnerability is in top 3 of OWASP list from 2017. 2017. No, it's not in the top 3, but it was in top 3 back in 2013, because now it's like top 4, 5, something like this. So it's not in top 3 anymore. Sorry, 5. Okay, because we arrived here, I was prepared. You will get random numbers, okay? Anyone marks these numbers as of now and shout, bingo, gets the chocolate. That's the deal. Let's see. First, 18. There is no 18. Good. 27. Already everyone gave up. There is no number. Cool. Number 30. I just lost you, right? Like, leave me alone. Keep the chocolate. Pepe, you play with 2 cards. I mean, seriously. I mean, that's funny. Okay. Number 1. I literally can run out of numbers. I mean, number 11. Still no? Oh, which one you need? I mean, I lost. It's here. Okay. So I have one more number. Then I have the chocolate. Or the closest. 33. There you go. Wow. Because that's the next slide. I mean, congrats. Some applause. Whew. Thank you very much. Okay, I still have 2 slides. Okay. So after having the chocolate, no one else is interested for some security improvements. Okay, there is one session which has been given by Peter Wolonin, security team member, back in 2017 at DrupalCamp Vienna. And he was basically listing the major things that happened in Drupal 8, how it got more safe, such as clickjacking protection we got. Finally, we removed PHP format, which was a great achievement. I don't even know why we had that. Automated CSRF token protection, so we don't have to always manually implement it. We got single statement execution for SQL, so it cannot be that easily exploited via injections, and so on and so forth. Check it out. It's a great session. What we also can do is basically every Wednesdays, I know here in Europe it happens in the evening, but spend some time to learn out of those advisories. Because when we got these, especially on the contributed projects, those show also the code change. And usually, the code change only affects the vulnerability itself. We don't get so many instructions, though, by an advisory to not raise so much, attention. What could have been gone wrong, but still, the code change is pretty much there. You said you are devs, you understand what is written there. Learn out of these. But also we have to remember we got a great team of over 30 individuals who are covering our butts. But only those modules, those projects, libraries and themes as well, that are stable. So no Greek letters, no dev, alpha, beta, delta, whatever. And only the ones that are hosted on Drupal.org. So if your contributed project is hosted on GitHub, please move it to Drupal.org. We got GitLab, and we are going to arrive soon to have merge requests. Going to be so cool. And please, I saw some hands. If you are a maintainer and you are having an email by the security team, please respond. Otherwise, after a while, those contributed projects will be just marked unsupported. You don't want to be there. Okay, the thing is, there is one more cat. The whole Drupal security team does a tremendous job, but sometimes they release issues that are just, not the perfect match for fixing something. They still spend their free time. They are not paid people to do that. Fine? Okay. Funny cat, huh? So they always reach the moment when everything is safe. So please do not try to figure out at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock why we still didn't get the Drupal core update and why the Drupal.org is basically just down. And please do not update Drupal, org like F5. Stop doing that. They do a great job again, and we should really appreciate that. Last slide, one of the last. There are security-related projects that we might use. One of them is password policy. We are still looking for more and more maintainers and more contributors who are helping us to release the very first Drupal 8 version of password policy, please. But also there is like DropGuard that does for free monitoring services, and for a paid service, some automation as well. Also, there are security awareness programs, such as the ones that will happen in Sofia, Bulgaria, just the weekend before DrupalCamp Amsterdam happens in the Netherlands, which just got like 2-3 weeks ago the biggest sponsorship, which is a gold sponsorship by Gatsby. So we are not targeting exclusively Drupal there, but open source. That's why we name it Secure Open Source Days. It's about Drupal, it's about WordPress, it's about all open source CMSs, and it's about everything that is open source and meeting security. So all the sessions for call for sessions are open still by the end of September. And we are still looking for some great sponsors. So if you still have some, leftovers from the yearly marketing budget, please just, talk to me. We need your money. And we need you to get there. It's great. And we still don't have a venue, so please pay. And by the way, for all attendees, it's for free, so pay more. That's all. That's all, folks. Any questions? I got some on this tablet. Is it tablet, iPad, whatever? Okay. Wow. Okay. So I got 3 questions. One is voted for 4 times. Great. It would be a great idea if you could make a weekly security challenge green-red poll on Twitter. Make it happen. And pray hand. Great idea, though. Please follow me on Twitter, and I will try to do my best. Starting when it would be the best. I don't want to bother you, also myself, on Wednesdays. What about Thursday? Fair enough? Okay, it was yesterday. Okay, you know what? At the end of the week, it's great. Friday afternoon. You're gonna get the first. In about an hour. Okay. Drupal 8 does not grant full HTML to authenticated. See standard config install user role authenticated YML. I will check it, thanks. Still anonymous. I guess it was you, right? Okay. How do you automate security testing? Wow, there is a question. Great, thank you. By anonymous. I don't know who was that, but thanks for the question. So basically, there are 2 ways of trying to find vulnerabilities on a website or on an application. One is very manual, so like just reading the code all around and figuring out what could go wrong. Basically, you have to have a quite large knowledge about Drupal code and core base and whatever. But there are still tools such as Burp. It's basically intercept all requests, and you can change the request to try to attack. And also Burp, okay, it's a paid service, so it's based on license, and it's quite expensive. It has an open source alternative, let's say, by OWASP, which is called OWASP ZAP. Yeah, ZAP, that does something similar, but it's not that intuitive, and the UI just sucks. But still does interceptions, still can automate attacking website, and please keep it in your mind, we are good people. We are not attacking live sites, okay? Do it on your local or whatever separated network, please. Other than that, yeah, not many other things though. I mean, we are gonna get the Drupal Steward soon. It's not yet live, which will help you for mitigation, which is basically if there is a new Drupal core update, then if you are subscribed for that service, will not be forced to update immediately because the providers will mitigate on most probably WAF level the issues, if that's possible. There are some cases, though, when it's just not possible. So update immediately. Or use a service, DropGuard, or there's a Norwegian one. Forgot his name. Yeah, Violinist, thank you. Yeah, by Eirik. That can be implemented on your own and basically does very similar things. And there are many other projects, which most probably I'm just not aware of. Any other questions for now? I'll just run out. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, I got one more. Any community transport from Sofia to Amsterdam? Yeah, thanks for this question, though. At least Preston... Oh, yeah, by the way. There is another key moment to announce and to be super proud of that. Preston So is coming to Sofia very first time in his life. to give a keynote there. He works at Gatsby nowadays. Previously, he was a director at Acquia for the labs, and he is very well known for his book and his activities for Decoupled Drupal. And he's going to give a keynote. And I just got a picture by him yesterday or the day before, showing a textbook in Bulgarian. So he started to learn Bulgarian. Not to give the whole session in Bulgarian, but at least to greet you and talk to you in your mother tongue, folks. So it's going to be awesome. But other than that, community transport, let's figure it out together, I would say. There is Wizz Air and there is Ryanair, sorry for the records, that has quite cheap flights from there to Amsterdam, Schiphol. At least Wizz Air does have. Ryanair should be checked. But there can be, I mean, if we buy it nowadays, I wouldn't expect so high prices. If you are just arriving there and, oh, next week is DrupalCamp Amsterdam, it's going to be expensive, for sure. But yeah, let's talk about it to figure out something, even buy some cars, driving about 24 hours. No. Okay, great. I also don't want to. But let's meet in Sofia and also in Amsterdam, please, and pay for it. Go ahead. Yeah, there's an idea to get, I don't know, 30 plus hours on a train. Sounds amazing. Hard. Yeah, I would say that's also a possibility. I personally wouldn't do that. Other than that, I just would like to say a thank you.
Thank you.